Perfect. Thank you all so much for joining us today for free help. My name is Jasmine Knighton. I'm one of the optimizers here at Vine Skills. I help folks get launched into FileVine through our sprint process as well as FVDA. Super excited to be bringing you all free help today. I'll let Nikki and Hillary introduce themselves, and then we can kind of jump in.
Hi, everybody. It's great to meet you all. I work alongside Jasmine and Hillary here at Vine Skills. I've been here for a little bit over a year. Started out my journey at FileVine, was there for a year and a half, and prior to that worked in law firms my entire career. So happy to be here with everyone, and hope this is super helpful for you all.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hillary Richards. I'm an optimizer here at Vine Skills. Previous to this, I came from FileVine, where I was for 2.5 years in the implementation side of things.
Awesome. Thank you both. Yes, we all have some FileVine background, having worked there, and hopefully can pass some of that great knowledge that we have on to you all about Customs Editor. If you all have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom. We'll get those questions answered in real time. Just a little bit about Vine Skills before we kind of jump in. We offer kind of a large scope of all things FileVine related, whether that's launching clients or optimizing clients. So for folks that have already been in FileVine that maybe want to work the system a little bit better, learn what they don't know, or really just help with performance or anything like that, Vine Skills can help out with all of that. We also do lead docket, FVDA, demands AI. We run the gamut, automations. We're a one-stop shop for you all. And so if you all have any of those needs, definitely feel free to reach out. Towards the end of the call, I'll put our website info in there, as well as all of our contact info, so that if you all are looking to engage in any services or just have questions, you can feel free to reach out to us there. And it looks like we already have a question. Do you know if comment fields and contact cards are reportable? I'm trying to decide whether to consider using this. Comment fields, I guess, Nikki, I'm not sure if you know, I don't know what you would be using the comments for, but we can kind of dive into that just a little bit. Yeah. So here in Report Builder, if you're just trying to pull in, typically you're able to pull in like contact list items. Let me go ahead and select a type here, project type. We have a ton. Hopefully you all don't have this many template types that you have to scroll through. Let's see here. So here, if it's like in your additional info for your contact card, you're able to like add those items in as columns. I don't know if we have a notes section in ours.
We have one that says additional notes.
Okay, let's type that in.
I just don't know. Let me check if it's contingent. This is one. In the children's custom tab. But I'm wondering if when the question asks for comments, are we asking for like notes field, or are we asking about that little, you know how you have that little button where you could hover and it will give you comments about the field? Is that what we're referring to?
Like activity feed comments. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what type of fields, because let me pull up and see if we have any notes like options in our contact card, and then we do have a notes section there. What's under additional info? Typically, if you're able to report on it, it pops up here.
Oh, is that it? No.
So they have like the criminal history notes, additional notes, and notes So yeah, it looks like it can be pulled in. This was from our additional client info, spouse's additional info. There was a ton of other, we have a lot of note fields in here. But that would be here, spouses, and then their contact cards, additional notes. If you're not seeing it, we can pull reports with notes, but it doesn't look like it for comments.
So
If
I
it-
think like if you comment on the note in the activity feed, is that what we're talking about? Because I feel like we shifted from contacts to the activity feed. You can pull reports for notes. It doesn't look like for comments. But wanted to.
Yeah, maybe I can give you permission to unmute that way.
That would be great.
You can ask instead. Let me open this up. And Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
So, yes, I'm looking for, I think at one of your screenshots showed that the comments in the contact card. So under additional information, the comments below, right there. I'm looking to see if that's reportable. It doesn't look like it is, but I wanted to ask. Because we pull notes into a report. We use that as a column so that we can see all the.
Is that it right there?
Mhm.
Oh, yep.
So client's additional info comments is this piece here.
Could you go back? I'm just going to take a
Yep.
screenshot if you don't mind. I've got my chat hanging over that. All right, so all right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And a lot of times if you just type it in, there's a lot of comments, right? It's pulling every place that says comments, but just before kind of it tells you where it's pulling from. And so maybe you were it was from a different area.
Actually, it's because you are pulling from projects.
Yeah, a list of projects.
Okay, yeah, see, I was just looking for in general for contacts.
Oh, like a
It
list.
doesn't look
here.
like you can do it in contacts.
Let's see a list of contacts.
Sorry, I didn't notice that. Interesting. So.
You should still be able to pull in.
Yeah,
I'm checking now to see if I have that option.
So if you're
you've got it there, so I will check. I appreciate you looking through that with me. So clearly it's there. If I don't see it, I will reach out to support.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Glad we could help. All right. So we'll go ahead and jump in. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Perfect. So we're going to jump into Customs Editor. Customs Editor is where you'll go to make all of your org-wide changes to your templates, as well as your contact cards. So we kind of popped into the contact card there as well. So if some of you are like, we don't have a comments option, we can show you how to get those items added in. You do need advanced permissions in order to see your customs editor. So if you're not seeing this option, that likely means that you don't have advanced access. If you are the person that's supposed to be making those changes, you'll want to reach out to somebody that's a FileVine admin, or if you're working with us already, we can help kind of get that those permissions for you there. But we'll go ahead and go into advanced. You'll see here contact setup and customs editor. All of the advanced tabbed items are in alphabetical order. So if you're ever like, where is it? It's usually at the top with the C's. We'll pop into contact setup first. You'll see here that we have a couple of tabs open here. You do have the ability to add new tabs in, name the tab, and add in fields that way as a way to help better organize your contact setup. You'll see that we have quite a few options here. There's the ability to add new fields in, and then you can kind of choose which field type you like. That comments that we kind of just went over is located down here. And then you'll see some similar if you've worked in Customs Editor before. Some of these field types are similar to that. The only difference with contact setup versus Customs Editor, you can't make these contingent off of another field. So if I wanted a yes, no, and then only wanted items to show based off of that yes, no, I wouldn't be able to do that in my contact setup. But I can go ahead and select which field type I like. I can add in a field name there, and then I can choose the width. So if I want this to be all by itself on a line, I'll keep this one. I usually like to do 3 in a row so that it kind of mirrors what my FileVine build looks like. But again, you have some flexibility here. Maybe you're using a comment section or a note section and you want 2 items next to each other like that. You can do that there as well. This placeholder text allows for you to type in kind of what you want placed there. So here for social security number, that's your placeholder text, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It allows folks to see what format should be placed in there or give them like, guidance or instruction there. And then the help text allows for that, hey, I want it displayed like this. And then at the very bottom, you have visibility for your different contact types. So this is where you can, this is kind of the contingencies within your contact card. So I only want social security number to show up for client, defendant, or plaintiff. You can add additional contact types here. You can start typing in and select which other types that you would like, if any, there. This is also where you can move to a different tab. So maybe I accidentally created this and I want this actually moved to a different tab. I can move tabs there and select which tab I want it moved to. You can group items. So here there's no title, but if I use this pencil, I can add a field name here. So maybe client, additional client info, I want it to say down there. I can add that there and it will populate as a title for that section, similar to our immigration details. Perfect. There's also, again, I mentioned types and labels. If you want to edit your types and labels, you'll go here. Contact types populate at the top. You can add new ones by clicking the plus sign there. You can remove items by using the trash can symbol there. This is also where you can add date of birth or date of death. This is really the only option for customizing that very first tab that you see in the contact card. You can select, hey, if contact type adjuster is selected, I want that date of birth and date of death to show up. It will look like in contact info, date of birth and deceased. If I were to take this contact type away, you'll see it disappears. Again, one of the only ways that you can customize this contact info tab. You can also change your phone labels and the little emoji that's next to it. You can do the same for addresses and emails. For phones, you have the ability to select if it's a texting line or a calling line. So you'll want to make sure to come in and make those adjustments there as well.
Jasmine, sorry.
Yep.
If you want that number to receive or be able to send text messages or fax, you have to check that. So if for some reason it's not working on the front end, you want to check the back end, and that's probably what's going on.
Awesome. Thanks, Hillary. Anything else I missed in contact setup? Perfect. And then you'll also want to make sure that you save any changes that you make to make sure that they're reflected on the front end. Typically, any time you make any changes to the back end, you'll want to refresh on the front end just so that it reflects those changes. You can make sure that they're actually captured. We're going to pop into Customs Editor. Anytime I'm in Customs Editor, I always want to have my front end opened as well. So any project or case, that way I can see what my layout looks like, so that as I'm making changes, I have a better idea of where I'm moving things, where would look good, and kind of what's already set there for me. So I'm going to leave open our personal injury project and hop back into advanced. You'll choose your project type. Again, hopefully you don't have this many project types there. But once you've selected the project type that you want to work with, you'll open up into sections. This is where all of those sections along the left-hand side are located. This is where you'll add, again, those additional fields, widgets, everything like that. If you want to create a new section, you'll do that here at the top. You'll add a name in. You can select which icon that you'd like. And then you can select your visibility. Always visible means it will always show. Always hidden means it will never show. And initially visible and hidden mean that you can toggle them on and off. If it's initially visible, it will show up, but you have the ability to turn it off. If it's initially hidden, it'll initially be hidden and you have the ability to turn that on. You'll do that in your projects here at the bottom in managed sections. These are all of our initially visible or hidden fields. If it's green, that means it's currently visible. If it's grayed out, that means it's currently hidden. To change that, you'll just turn them on and off there and press save. Some folks will use this for like litigation, right? Because maybe not all of your cases are going to go into litigation. So you don't want to see all of those sections here on the side. It may be overwhelming. And so you can hide those sections initially and then turn them on if that case does go to litigation. And then once you've selected all of that, your section type here is another option for you to select. These built-in sections are things that are native to FileVine. You can make limited changes on them. You can essentially change the name and the icon and the visibility, and that's it. You can't add any additional fields or change the current fields or setups in them. And they're all tied to kind of different elements within FileVine, kind of indicated by the title there. If you're looking for a custom section, so your static or collection section items, those are going to be here in custom. If it's a collection section, you'll select the box. If it's not, you'll leave the box unchecked and you'll press save. That will create a new section for you to be able to add in additional content or fields and widgets. If you're looking to edit a current section that you already have, you'll find the selection that you're looking for. You'll click into it and you'll see all of your field types located here. If you're wanting to add a field, you'll look to see where you want to add it in. So let's say I want in my intake section something to be located right under referral source. I'm going to go back into Customs Editor, and instead of scrolling and trying to figure out where referral source is located, I'm going to use Command F, and I'm going to type in referral source, because I know that that's where I want my information to live, just below these items here. So once I've found kind of where I want them to live, I'm actually going to put it just below all of my like split fee stuff. These are on columns or row 9 and columns, 0 through 2, indicated here with the brackets. And then my next item is located directly on 10, meaning that there's currently no space for me to add in anything below my referral info. In order to make space, I'm going to use this drop-down arrow to make space there so that I am now able to add something on 10. You can see this is now on row 11. If I decide I no longer want to put anything on row 10, it won't mess anything up. You don't have to try to shift these back up. There won't be an awkward space on the front end. It'll look as if nothing else happened. But again, if you do want to add something in, creating that space is what you're going to want to do. So in order to add an item in, I'm going to go to Add Field or Widget right here. And this is where all of my field types are located. There's a long list of field types. Some have special abilities within your kind of file vine. Your amount fields are just amount fields. They'll come out looking kind of either, again, whatever you choose, currency, decimal number, or percentage. These calculated fields are based on these amount fields above. You will have to type in a formula to get the calculated currency to kind of do what you want. But again, those are based off of these fields up here. Case number is one of those special file vine fields. It kind of tracks across a couple of different sections. Sorry, brain fart there. Your date field is just a standard date field. It's to track dates, not to calendar dates. If you want dates calendared, you're going to use that deadline with reminders field. This not only calendars the events, but will also give you reminders that that event is coming up. To change that reminder schedule, you'll have to go into the reminder schedule section, still here in advanced, just not in customs editor, to create that. And then you'll select which reminder schedule you would like used there. You can see we've built out quite a bit, but you can select which one you want there. And again, it will give you reminders based off of this schedule that you've created. A drop-down list, pretty self-explanatory, allows you the ability to add multiple options. The benefit with doing a drop-down list as opposed to a text field is that there's some consistency. So if you are running reports and maybe you're looking for like a state, with a drop-down list, you've already typed out the states, so it recognizes that California is the same across the board. If you do a text and somebody types in California with a capital C versus a lowercase c, the system won't be able to recognize that those are the same exact state. And so again, for consistency purposes, reporting things like that, drop-down list may be kind of the better option there for you. Also good if you're ever using contingent fields. Based off of this drop-down list, you're able to, type out, hey, if it equals California with a capital C, great. Again, if you're having a text field, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. File attachments, I rarely use the single file attachment. Multiple file attachment is usually where I'll go. It allows you just a little bit of cushion. So if right now you're like, we're only ever uploading one file, later down the line, if you want to add an additional one, you won't be able to with that single file attachment. FileVine makes it difficult to delete stuff once you've already created it and once there's data in it. So if you've already uploaded a document to that single file attachment, you won't be able to change it to a multiple file attachment. You'll have to obsolete that field, add a new field in. It just gets to be really complicated and makes your system bulky in the back end. So as a catch-all, just easier to do the multiple file attachment. Again, it gives you that flexibility to add one or as many as you need. Incident date is another one of those special fields in FileVine. It will populate across multiple sections. It's one of like a standard field list. So it does a few other things as far as like reporting and items like that. A multiple select list allows you to select multiple options that you've already have preset here. It says drop down item, but you'll have the ability to kind of choose. Maybe you use this for list of injuries so that they can select multiple injuries that they have there. The person field is where all of your contact cards look like. And so anytime you need to track any information outside of like just somebody's name, a person field might be a great use for you there. Person list allows you to have multiple of those contact cards. These project linked and project linked list are a way for you to, just like it says, link cases together. There is some nuances with these, so I would recommend reading a support article to really understand how these two operate together, where they need to be placed in order to make sure that they actually are working properly. But that's kind of the use case there. Your text fields are those text box. They have a variety. This is one of the only field types that you can change after it's been created. So if you originally selected a single line, you're able to change it to a multiple line. There's only a few other options kind of in this text realm. I think you can change it to a URL list and maybe one other thing here, but the majority of these, once you create them, you're not able to change the field type. So you would either need to delete and re-add or obsolete and re-add. So you do want to be careful and cognizant when you're going through and adding these field types. URL allows you the ability to add in a URL there. And then yes, no is a yes, no, or unknown. If you make this field required here in advanced properties, it will take away the unknown option and you'll be required to answer either yes or no. So just consider that there. A lot of folks will use this for contingency purposes so that if you select yes, all of the fields related to that yes will populate. If you select no, and there's fields that need to populate, those will populate there. Again, to make your section look a little less bulky. Perfect. So outside of these field types, I'll pop down into advanced properties just a little bit before going into your widgets. So you'll see the row in order here. Again, if I'm looking to add something below that referral source, I've made room on row 10. So I'm going to want to make sure I move this to row 10. And then the order here is where it will show up in columns on your front page. Filevine automatically starts with 0. I could put this as 1, and as long as it's the very first thing, it will still show up in that first column. And then I can change my visibility. Again, if I want this to be contingent on another field, I would select that here. Unlike that original where I could, do Command F in search, you do have to kind of search manually to see which drop-down item that you want. But once you found it, you can select it, and then you can say, I only want this to show when type of medmal equals, and then I'll type in. If you do equals, it has to be the exact thing that's typed in to this field. So if type of medmal is a drop-down list, you might just want to copy from that item what you're looking for and paste it in here. Again, if it's lowercase, if you type it in lowercase and it's uppercase here, it won't recognize that it's the same. If you have additional characters, it won't recognize that it's the same. These are you're only able to do contingencies off of one item. So the workaround to that is to add special characters. So let's go ahead and find like our case types. Incident type is a drop-down list here, and you'll see we have some asterisks in our build. That way, whatever field we're selecting and have a contingency with an asterisk, it will show up for all of these options. So I think one popular one is like location of incident or owner, location owner, whatever. That needs to pop up for both dog bite and premise liability and MVA, but not for medmal. And so that asterisk, again, allows for that flexibility when doing those contingencies. And then required, I kind of went over that. If it's required, you're not able to save the section without selecting or typing in something in there. Be careful with requiring a ton of fields because sometimes folks will just type in whatever they need to get to fill, to save the document. So you want to be a little bit more conservative with using this required function. The locked function, and if you ever have questions about what they are, the little question marks give you kind of a breakdown of what that is. This locked field will only be able to be edited by a project admin. And so you'll want to, again, be cognizant there. And then obsolete fields make it so that you're not able to see them in any new case. In any historical cases where there's data, it will be preserved, but you won't be able to see it in the front end. In the report builder, there'll be lines through it, letting you know, hey, this is an obsolete field that's not in use anymore.
Jasmine, we had a question. Can we go over the asterisk contingency use again?
Yep. So let's say I'm adding in this new field. I'm going to go ahead and add it into the 10th row, first order by itself. And I'm just going to label this test contingency, if I could spell. And, you can kind of make this whatever field you want. I'm just going to leave it as a text field for now. And then I only want this to show when my case type is either dog bite or premise liability, that, the asterisk. So I'm going to go ahead and look for where my incident type is located, and that's here. And then when it contains, because equals means it needs to be exactly how it's listed. So if this was just for dog bite, I could type in dog bite with an asterisk and it will only show up for dog bite. But because the asterisk is on multiple options, I want to do contains, and I'm going to type in the asterisk there. And then let me take those off. At Vine Skills, we use best practices as far as internal notes go. So anytime that we add any visibility, we like to write it here in our internal notes. Just show when incident type contains an asterisk. That way, if anybody goes in to edit incident type, they know that this field is going to be messed with from that, or I may need to alter this if I change that. So I'm going to go ahead and press create. And then we're going to go back to the front end. Let me hide these floating meeting panels. And I'm going to go ahead and press refresh because I've made a change on the back end. I want it to reflect on the front end. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. And you'll see my test contingency shows up because my incident type has an asterisk. If I were to change this to medmal, you'll see it's now gone away. But if I change it to dog bite, it pops back up again because that asterisk is located there. It's a way to get around that only having one ability for those contingencies. Nursing home negligence, it's now gone. For this test contingency, you see that it's the only thing on that field. So it goes across the entire line. If I don't want it to go across the entire line, there's some tips and tricks you can do to kind of make it shorter so that it aligns better with the rest of your documents or the rest of your items. And we'll go over that next. If that answered your question, I'm not sure who asked it. Hopefully that answered.
You did. That was very helpful. So.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and remove this field before kind of going on. Perfect. So I had that field located on that 10th line. Again, it was the only thing there. If I wanted other items to be there, I guess I shouldn't have deleted that out. Let me go ahead and add it back in for that purpose. Perfect. So again, I don't want it across the entire line. I just want it to be a third of the line. I'm going to go ahead and add in some spacers. To do that, I'll go to add field or widget, and in our widget section, you'll see a drop-down list. To add spacers, it's going to be instructions, and I'm going to go ahead and add a widget name. Any item that you add into Customs Editor needs to have a unique name within that section. So if I'm doing a spacer, you'll see I get an error code saying, hey, there's already some other widgets with this name. This needs to be unique. I typically like to just name it with whatever row and order that I'm going to put it in. And then I'll go here and change that row and order there as well. Usually I do the row and order first because sometimes I'm really forgetful and then I have to exit out of this and try to remember where it needs to be placed. So you may just want to come in here, change this first, and then kind of add in the content up here. I'm not going to add anything into this instruction text box here. If I do, it adds it into the front end, but I don't want that added in. I just want a spacer. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to press create. And then I want to do one more because again, I just want it as a third of that line. So I'm going to go ahead and add another one in. And this is going to be spacer 10-2. And then I need to make sure I change my row and order there and press create. One thing to note is if I still had a contingency on this test option here, I'll want to include that contingency on my spacers so that it only shows up when I need to and there's not awkward spaces within my build. I'm going to go ahead and refresh here so you all can see what that new line looks like. I have it always showing, and again, you can see now it's just a third. It aligns with the top and the items here at the bottom. So you may want to add in spacers kind of anywhere that you only have one or two things located in a column, or if you just want things to, align a little bit better and look a little bit different.
Jasmine, Catherine's asking if there's a way to make it 2/3 of the line. So would you delete the third one and show her?
Yep. Switch it. So it won't be necessarily 2/3. It'll like be a half and a half. Go ahead and refresh, and you can see now it goes not all the way to the end of where the other two are located, but halfway between the, you know, first and second option there. So go ahead and delete these out officially now. And you can see here widget type, I'm not able to change it. Again, once it's kind of created, you don't have the ability to be like, oh, wait, I meant for this to be something else. You'll either have to remove the widget completely, or again, if there's already content in there, you're going to have to obsolete and create a new one, knowing that the titles do have to be different. So you'll either have to change this to say incident type old and then create a new one, or, you know, something along those lines. So just be careful when you're adding in items here. But for our text, you'll see it's not grayed out. I can change it to that URL, case number, or the other text options there. Perfect. And then the other widgets that are located here, we have action buttons. These action buttons either will link you to another page, and I'll show you all this because this is kind of, if you don't know, you don't know. I'll pop back into that one. The other option here is to send an email. So if you have standard emails that you're sending out, and you want FileVine to pre-populate that info that you already have, so you're not having to go through and do the double work of finding your incident date or incident type or client number or anything like that, you can go ahead and type out the standard email here. Blah, 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 so on and so forth. You can CC the project email so that it comes right back into your project or your activity feed, so that you're not having to, again, CC that project or try to manage it from your Outlook. And then you can send to addressee. Now, available replacement fields is where you're going to want to go to add in your who you're sending it to's contact info. So we'll go here. It'll open up in a new tab similar to your DocGens. It's a ton of codes located here. It's, again, very similar to your DocGens, where this is very, very tiny. So you may want to use that Command F to find the fields that you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to find my client's email. We'll give it a second to think. It's populating, it's thinking. And then I can select which email that I want. Copy, again, similar to your DocGen codes, and paste in here. I can add in other email addresses if I want there. Same thing with the CC, I can add in other email addresses there. I'll type a subject in there, and then I can also add those replacement fields to the body of the paragraph as well. So if I want my incident date, I can copy that. I can paste that into here, so on and so forth. Once I create it on the front end, I'll just have to press a button. It will open up in Outlook, and I can press send from there. You can also make these buttons contingent. Perfect. And then the other option here is your task flow triggers. So anytime that you want to add an auto task based off of a button trigger, you'll want to come in here first, add the button triggers to the correct sections and areas, and then go into your task flow option to see or to add the task flow to that button. You can change the button icon here as well if you'd like. And then you have your DocGen buttons. Again, similar to the multiple file attachment, I always do the multiple template. Again, it gives you a little bit more flexibility down the line, or, you know, immediate flexibility there. With any of the uploads, so whether that's your document template upload or your DocGen template upload, you have the ability to auto move it to a folder. Again, this takes a little bit less time for you all to have to manage your docs section. You can select which folder you want this document auto move to. That way, when you generate it, you can automatically find it in your insurance section or your intake section or whatever. You also have the ability to auto add tags. So maybe this is a welcome letter that I'm going to have in here, and I want it to automatically tag welcome letter or welcome into my document. So that way, if I'm filtering or running reports on those, again, I don't have to do the work of those auto tags. And these are nice because these auto tags don't count towards your auto tag count. These again, just automatically add similar to that, like attachment for your emails or your text messages. We kind of went over instruction fields. Again, you can use these for spacers, or you can use them for actual instruction text. If you want it for actual text that's going to show up in the front end, you'll just type in what you want shown here. There are some formatting options. So if you want to make it purple or a strike through, you can also add emojis to this. So I can, add that emoji, one of my favorites, and say, please don't edit, or something along those lines. You can add the stop sign, kind of just grabs your folks' attention so that as they're going through, they have some guidance and know, what to do. We have some here in our best practices if you want to kind of see what that looks like there. And if you're looking for like adding that purple or the strike through, if you go on the support website and look up formatting, all of the options are located there. And then if you have FVDA or Outlaw, this is kind of where you'll add in those Outlaw templates. If you don't have it, you don't have to worry about this option there. And then report fusions. Some folks will use these, some folks won't. For our PI firms, usually you're using this for like a settlement statement, or there's a variety of things that you can use a report fusion for. Again, similar to DocGen, use that multi-template. And then your subsection header just helps you to break down your sections a little bit easier, make it easier for the reader or whoever's filling it out to have some breaks from just looking at all of the fields combined together there. Awesome. The other thing I wanted to go back over, sorry about that, was this link button. So the link button, you'll go ahead and add a prompt here. This essentially will take you to another section in FileVine. The benefit of doing this is maybe in your intake, you want to gather some medical information, like medical provider info, but you don't want that housed in your intake section. You want it housed in the medical section. This button will allow you to click that button and take you to the medical section in a different tab without losing your place in your intake. So if you want to do that, I want to say, I want this the same as this widget name up here. You can again choose an icon there. And then this button URL is kind of where the trick is located. So you'll open up any project, you'll select the section that you want this button to take you to. You'll copy this URL located up here, and you'll paste it in here. The other thing that you need to do is use this little question mark. There's some replacement codes here. You'll take the second option, which is your project ID. You'll copy that and you'll replace this string of numbers in between the project slash and the custom slash. And then you can press save. That way it will work for every project that you have and not just for the project ID that was currently in there. And then you'll want it to open in a new tab. So you'll select that and then you'll press create. Again, doing this will allow you to jump to your medical section, input the information you need, and then jump right back into your intake or whatever section that you were in and kick right back off where you left off.
Catherine has a question. Is there a way to make faxes go into a folder or email attachments automatically?
Not that I've seen. Nikki, Hillary, I'm not sure if you all know the tips and tricks there, but typically it just comes right into your, for the email attachments, we'll go right into your doc section with those hashtags, and then you do have to manually move those over. And then as far as faxes, they'll come into the mailroom, and then you'll select which project you want them moved over into. They'll go into the activity feed there.
So Vine Skills does offer a Magic Box of Skills app that allows those attachments to be folded into a folder that you can create, whether that be, maybe it's called email attachments or fax attachments or something like that. So if that's something you're interested in, you can always email Jasmine, myself, or Hillary after this call, and we could show you more about that.
Thanks, Nikki. I feel like we get rave reviews about that Magic Box of Skills. So we can do demos. It's on our website if you all want just more info. It does more than just that faxing portion. There's quite a few features or functionalities that you can, access with that. So thanks. Perfect. Were there any other questions about customs editor or contact setup that you all had questions about. The only other thing I didn't go over here in contacts or customs editor were these other tabs up here. Your vitals, you're able to change and edit those. These are essentially like the lifeline pieces of your case that you want to know at a moment's notice, that you don't want to have to go in and click the section to find out. For the collection sections, you are limited in what you can bring over into the vitals. You can only bring like totals, like total meds, not totals for each section, highest, earliest, latest, averages, things like that. But from any static section, you can bring in the data there as well. Your phases track what the process of your case from start to finish. So you can add those in here and create new ones. All of these are retroactive, the vitals and the phases and the sections. So any changes that you make to them will also reflect on older cases. The only one that will not do that is your folder structure. It is only good moving forward. So any changes that we make to this will only reflect on new cases that we create. They won't reflect on any past cases. So if any of you are just getting into FileVine, you'll want to make sure that you do this folder structure sooner rather than later. That way you don't have to go back and add in folder structures for cases that you've already created prior to kind of having this. Awesome. Perfect. Doesn't look like there's any other questions. If you all do have some, definitely feel free to type them out. If not, thank you all so much for joining us. We do free help every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on our website, you can kind of see the list of topics that we have. We do switch them every week. And so would love to see you all in the future. If you all are interested in retaining Vine Skills services, you are more than welcome to do that. We'd love to work with you all and get you set up with a kickoff call to kind of discuss your needs and how Vine Skills can help you all be more successful within FileVine. I'm going to go ahead and type in my email address, Nikki's email address, and Hillary's email address, just so that you have the ability to reach out. Again, if you do have any questions or just want further info. And then I'll also type in or pop in our landing page for our website. I'll do the free help one, but you all do have the ability to look at pricing from there, see what other services we offer. If that magic box of skills piqued your interest, you can definitely research that as well on our website. And yeah, let us know if you all need anything from there. And we'd be more than happy to work with you all. Again, thanks so much. Nikki, Hillary, did I miss anything or anything else you wanted to go over?
So no more questions. Nope, we're good. Awesome. No, you did great. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you all again so much. This recording will be located on our website. We record all of our free help sessions. So if you all aren't able to make it into any sessions, you can kind of go in and watch the recording. Or if you thought what we went over was super awesome and you want to share it with your firm, again, you can go ahead and go in there. We also offer training. So if you're like, this was great, we want it on a larger scale or tweaked, we're more than happy to work with you all to get training for your firm there as well. Perfect. Thanks so much for joining us. Hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.